What is this solid wood with numbers like 210 and 6 3/4 on it? The inside is black, but it doesn't smell burnt. My friend's parents inherited it along with a shaker-looking hutch, but I don't know whether they're related. It's just under 8 inches wide and 5 inches tall. I couldn't tell you what wood it's made from since oak should be a lot heavier for a solid piece like this. There are also small nail holes circling the outside around the top. Any idea what this thing is? It's an Art Deco men's hat block that would have been used in a factory, or at the very least could be mounted on a pouncer or sander for making felt hats. The extra hole and hand grips on the bottom would make them easier to handle and move between machines. At some point, it's also been used for hand blocking, hence the pin marks around the bottom. Source: Emma Hatter. What is this wedge-shaped handheld optical tool with 2 interfacing mirrors angled at 45 degrees? I am in Germany, and this belonged to my grandpa, who was a geneticist who worked with cameras and microscopes. The closest I could find was the camera lucida, but that's not what this is. The instrument is marked J. Rodenstock Nach München and was likely made around the 1930s. Rodenstock was a well-known lens manufacturer in analog photography and makes glasses today. Any ideas? It's an angle prism from circa 1910, made in Germany by Joseph Rodenstock Company. It was used during land surveying in contexts where the goal was to aim 2 rows of measuring rods at right angles to each other. A friend asked me to help him locate some info on this brooch. We can't locate any info on it, no idea what it is, and no idea where or when it was made. A jeweler did say it was 14K gold filigree and sterling silver, but that is all we know. It was found in an old dresser in Ontario, Canada. Someone suggested it might be Victorian, based on the look of the pin on the back. We think those are bear claws, but we are not sure. No hallmarks or maker marks either. Have you ever seen anything similar with bird, bow, and arrow symbolism? It's a 19th century tiger claw jewelry. In the late 1800s, one of the most popular pastimes for British colonists in India was hunting their majestic wildlife, especially the Bengal tiger. The Bengal tiger had long been the prey of the Maharajas and aristocrats of India, so when the British aristocracy moved in, they saw it as a way to buddy up with their fellow rulers. Bounties were offered starting in the late 1800s for each tiger killed, and so many people hunted tigers as a way of earning money. As a result of rampant hunting, by the beginning of the 20th century, 95% of the tiger population had been decimated. Because of the easy availability and acceptability of tiger corpses, one of the most popular souvenirs for rich British tourists was Bengal tiger claw jewelry. Indian goldsmiths would create intricate gold settings for pendants, necklaces, and brooches to sell to the wealthy who wanted to showcase their prey or impress their London friends. Many of these pieces are auctioned off today and are a grim reminder of how valueless animal life is to human beings, that it can be taken for nothing but aesthetics. I found this instrument panel clock in a box of stuff belonging to one of my great-grandfathers who lived in Brittany, France from 1900 to 1973. There are some German writings and serial numbers at the back. I assume this is made in Germany, but I would like to know more about it. I've done some Googling with the serial numbers but can't find anything. I really appreciate any help you can provide. It's a Junghans BO UK-1 aircraft clock, made in Germany in 1940 and used in many World War II German fighters and bombers, like the Junkers Ju-87 Stuka, a German dive bomber and ground attack aircraft, the Messerschmitt Bf 109, a German fighter aircraft that was the backbone of the Luftwaffe's fighter force, the Dornier Do 335, a heavy fighter built by Dornier, and the Heinkel HE 111, a German airliner and bomber. These clocks were very valuable. Pilots were instructed to take it and the gun sight before leaving the plane after a crash or emergency landing. Today, fully functional and original clocks can be sold for 600 to 700 euros. What is this old piece of heavy-duty metal equipment about 8 feet tall, 8 feet deep, and 7 feet wide? We have owned it for 45 years. My grandfather bought it at auction in coastal Georgia, USA. I was told it's a steam-powered something. Can anyone help identify this? It's a steam donkey, a steam-powered hoist. It was invented by John Dolbear in 1881 to help mechanize the logging industry. In the late 1800s, the logging industry was in full force gaining steam, and they really needed to up the operation because after they cut a tree down, they were using oxen and horses to pull the logs to the transportation site. So they came up with this thing called a steam donkey. They will be mounted on log slides and pulled onto floats so they could be towed from place to place. Eventually, the steam donkey was phased out in the 40s and 50s, giving way to diesel-powered engines. The donkeys were abandoned, usually where they had last been used, and left to rest away. But it's a big part of our history. What is this small 2 to 3 ounce jar with a closing lid and clip? I found this eroding out of a dense forest hill about 10 miles north of the Columbia River Gorge in Washington State, where not many people wander. It has a closing lid and a clip on the back. The bottom of the jar has 180 NW and 2 on the bottom. I've tried reverse image searching it and haven't seen a similar item. Any idea of what this is and how old it is? It's a 1960s egg lug, a salmon egg jar that clips on your belt while fishing. The top lid is spring-loaded to automatically close after the salmon eggs have been taken out. Made by Lure Jensen and Sons Incorporated in Hood River, Oregon, USA. What are these old wooden figures, with rectangular space in the back, found in an attic? The size is about 25 centimeters. I googled antique statues and similar but never found anything similar. Especially the way they are colored is unique, and they also do not represent any religious figures. There seems to be something hidden in the rectangular space in the back, but I didn't dare to open it. Any ideas about where from and what their purpose was? It's a 19th century Chinese ancestor figure. An integral part of traditional Chinese home life, ancestor worship before a domestic altar often featured painted ancestral portraits or tabletop ancestor figures. This ancestor figure was carefully hand-carved and painted to bear the likeness of one of its original owner's important forebears. The small compartment in the back was used to hold sacred texts, prayer scrolls, and other spiritually imbued offerings. What is this thing I found in my grandfather's basement? It seems to have patent info on it, but has rubbed off some. It's about 6 inches tall, and the bottom glass part does unscrew and come off. I have really no clue as to what it could be. It looks like some sort of wacky smoking pipe, but I tried blowing through the top, and the air goes through a tiny hole in the side and not through the glass, or through what would be the bowl. Any ideas? Please tell us down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.